Chiefs Kingdom, welcome back to another episode of All Chiefed Up. We're back with another podcast for that ass. And today, Steve, we're talking about Chris Jones actually calling for a big-name wide receiver in KC. Let's talk about it.
Before we get the show started, we appreciate you guys getting the Chiefs content from All Chiefed Up. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and help your boys grow this channel. Chris Jones, he's out there retweeting. He's out there telling people who he wants,
Right.
sort of, kind of.
He's retweeting. This is it. Chiefs defensive tackle Chris Jones supports KC signing a $98 million wide receiver and former All-Pro. Boy, that makes it sound crazy, doesn't it? This guy's not going to want $98 million this year, is he? That's insane. Who is it? Let's look. The @Chiefs should sign Odell Beckham Jr. Last year, he proved he is still dynamic after being 8th in the NFL, averaging 16.1 yards per catch, said Robert Griffin III on X. The Chiefs struggled with drops last year, but OBJ had the lowest drop rate of his career with one drop on 64 targets. Chief him. Chris Jones' support for Griffin's message was done in the form of a repost. Steve, it's got to the point where if you repost something on Twitter or X, that you're condoning it, baby. So Chris Jones, not even under contract, is trying to get him to pay big money to OBJ. What do you think about it?
Isn't that what he does? He just likes to poke the bear, or like get people talking. That's what Chris Jones does.
Chris Jones wants to be GM so bad. He's done this for years.
Well, if there's any indication of how this is going to play out, he wanted D-Hop last year. We didn't get D-Hop.
Nay.
He wanted Frank Clark back this year. We didn't get Frank Clark.
Nay.
So thank God we're probably not going to get OBJ, because here's my thing, man. OBJ, I think he's a special receiver. I think he's great.
Right.
He had some injury problems throughout his career, right? But we just can't afford a guy like that with that big of a risk.
Right.
That's the thing. If we're going to spend the money, we don't want to be that risky.
They're saying his market value is right at about 11.9. So basically $12 million. He's probably not going to take the cut. He didn't do it last year. Last year, I think they gave him 15, 16 million. I don't see him taking a lower amount, because why? He ended up with the Ravens, and barring the Chiefs just beating that ass, the Ravens had a good chance of winning the Super Bowl. So he was chasing a ring with the Ravens.
Did they really, though?
But we all said, look, if you don't come put the red and gold on, do you really have a shot?
Just wanted to take a quick second to tell you guys to head over to merch.allchiefedup.com and check out our t-shirts, hoodies, hats, whatever you want. Rep the channel, rep your favorite team. It's all right here together at merch.allchiefedup.com until the end of February. You can use the promo code CHAMPIONS for free shipping and all that. And of course, the Kansas City Strong shirts, all those proceeds are going to go to the Casey Strong Foundation. So please get over there, support the channel, and grab yourself some merch at merch.allchiefedup.com.
And no, he lost out.
Yep.
But by the way, Chris Jones, why is he trying to give money away? He ain't even been signed yet. PFF comes out and says he is somewhere guaranteed around 4 years, 120, 80 million guaranteed, 30 million per year. They're still saying 30 mil per year on Chris Jones. Steve, is Brett Veach going to the 30 mil per year mark? I just do not see it.
Probably not, but Chris Jones, I'm going to say it again for the second year in a row. He deserves that type of money.
Yeah.
Now, is he going to get the $30 million from the Chiefs? Probably not. He's going to have to come down a little bit. He's going to have to play ball a little bit if he wants to stay a Chief, like he says he does. But you know what I would tell Chris Jones is if you want to take, $10 million off of your yearly salary,
Right,
we'll
there you
sign
go.
OBJ.
Well,
We'll sign him.
We'll say, look, we'll sign you for 3 years. Take $4 million off of that per year. That's enough to give OBJ one. Okay,
Yeah.
So we'll get $26 million per year. Let's go. Let's do it. If that's what you want, put your money where your mouth is, Chris Jones. Let's go.
Right. Let's do it.
Quit. I know he's tripped over his own schlong before. Okay, he's tripping over his
Balls
words
out
now.
in front of Jesus and everybody in America.
Right.
Just letting his balls.
By
hang.
the way, this is Combine Week, Steve. Speaking of Chris Jones flopping dung at the Combine, this is Combine Week coming up. Maybe we're talking free agency like crazy. On yesterday's video, we were talking about a possible Jay Jetta trade. We were talking about possibly being favored to pick up Mike Evans now that the salary caps went up 30 mil. But you know what else? We need some running backs, Steve, in KC. We need some running backs in KC. This is our list we threw together. We said the most likely to sign with the Chiefs because we don't think the Chiefs are going to give big money to running backs. Why? You've got Isaiah Pacheco. I just don't see it happening. We put Jerick McKinnon and Clyde as 1 and 2. We put Antonio Gibson as 3. Boston Scott at 4, Devin Singletary at 5, Salvin Ahmed at 6, Ezekiel Elliott at 7, DeAndre Swift at 8, Eckler at 9, and Saquon Barkley at 10. A lot of people are saying, why isn't Eckler higher? Why isn't Swift and Barkley higher? Steve, are we giving $7, $8, $9 million to a running back that's not a feature back?
Absolutely not. I mean, we won't even give that to a feature back, right? That's why Jerick McKinnon and CEH top our list, is because they're the most likely, right?
Right.
If they're going to re-sign for cheap, that's probably where they end up going. Of course, Isaiah Pacheco's the man in KC for now. And they've shown that you can draft a guy in even the 7th round and come in and do some damage at running back. So I do like some of the options that we have there. And I think Antonio Gibson's an intriguing one because he's only about $3 or $4 million market value. But yeah, I doubt they shake the boat too much when it comes to that. We also had a video talking about a trade for Alvin Kamara. So I mean,
hey, a lot of people said you couldn't afford Alvin Kamara, Steve. You couldn't afford that, but they're wanting $11 million given to Noah Fant. Yeah. I don't understand where Chiefs Kingdom's coming from. Hey guys, if you didn't know by now, we partnered up with our friends over at FOCO. We're bringing you all kinds of Chiefs merchandise. Use our code CHIEFEDUP10 and get your Super Bowl champions back-to-back merchandise. We've got bobbleheads with Mahomes, Kelsey, Chris Jones. We even got KC Wolf. We've got plenty of others over there. You can go check them out. Plus, they sell tumblers. They sell gnomes. They sell wristbands, Steve. Look at that one. But yeah, they've got everything. Check the description. Hit up our link. Let them know All Chiefed Up sent you, and grab yourself something commemorative from FOCO. But we've got a little bit of blow to the list, Steve. We had Clyde on the list because we thought they might go there, but it says Chiefs first rounder expected to leave in free agency. He says it feels like it's time. That's Clyde. This is what it says. After much trade speculation in recent years, the CEH era is finally expected to end with the former LSU playmaker set to hit free agency for the first time in his career. They go on to say, with Jerick McKinnon's age and injury history, it's unclear whether or not Veach wants to bring him back for another year. This was Arrowhead Pride's Mark Gunnels. This is what he said on February 24th. He added, Clyde, on the other hand, it just feels like it's time to move on for both parties there. He says, although McKinnon and Edwards become free agents this March, the latter is not as likely to return, being Clyde, stuck in an RB3 role behind Pacheco and McKinnon over the past couple of seasons. Instead, it's more probable that Veach and head coach Andy Reid look to replace Clyde in the draft or by promoting a cheaper in-house candidate, like we've said, and like he is going to say, LaMichael Pirine, a little PP on the PP with Deneric Prince, or maybe even mid to late pickup there in the season, Keontae Ingram from the Cardinals, Steve. It looks like Clyde said he wants out, and I actually heard that Clyde actually went back to school to be some kind of a nurse or a doctor or something. He just enrolled to do that, so he's even thinking beyond football at this point. But it looks like Clyde may be out of KC, and the jury's still out on McKinnon.
Yeah, for sure. I could see both of them. Like as much as I could see them both being back because they're familiar and they're going to be cheap, it wouldn't surprise me at all to see them both gone either. Right. With Clyde kind of, hitting the end of his rope here in KC, and then Jerick McKinnon getting older, being a little injury prone, I think it could be time for them to move on from those guys. And, there's some intriguing draft picks out there. I'll just go ahead and drop one real quick. Ray Davis from the University of Kentucky.
You like Ray, though, don't you?
Ray's a good one. But we'll get more into the draft stuff later. But either way, man, I think there's different ways you can go with the running back room. Even if those two guys don't come back, if you want to spend a little bit of money, cool. If you don't, you don't have to. That's the beauty of it. With the running backs these days, you can get some good ones late in the draft or mid to late draft and have somebody come in and be productive from day one.
Look, I think Deneric Prince showed us enough last year that I think that they're still on board with Deneric Prince to a certain degree. Pirine actually looked pretty good. I could see Pirine maybe stepping into that Jerick McKinnon role. And then, of course, you've got Pacheco. He's not going anywhere. So there's your three. And do you want somebody more, a veteran presence? Would you Antonio Gibson is young, and I don't think his potential's been tapped yet. But Boston Scott, he's 29-30, but boy, he looks good. He looks like Clyde Edwards-Helaire with a lot more juice. He also has some special teams ability. Salvon Ahmed, another young guy, that he looks fast on film, but he did clock in at like a 4.57, 4.59, or maybe even 4.6s. But DeAndre Swift, Eckler, Barkley, I feel like those guys are just too much. They're not going to invest there. They're probably going to go to the draft. There's a kid out of Oregon, and again, Combine coming up this week. Can't wait to see what this kid runs. Bucky Irving out of Oregon. He's 21 years old, and in 2023, he got 56 passes for almost 1,200 yards out of the backfield. That is somebody maybe we could look at, and that would be a young rookie 4-year cheap contract next to nothing. And I think that's where they're going to go, Steve. I don't think they go to the free agency market and pay a bunch of money. They're obviously not paying for Saquon Barkley, but Eckler's been the big one everybody's talking about. I honestly think Eckler's too much money.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think if you're going to pay Eckler $7 or $8 million, maybe you should consider paying 9 or 10 for Saquon. I mean,
may as well.
You might as well at that point. I just don't. I'm with you, man. I don't see them using a whole lot of cap space on the running back room. The fact that Isaiah Pacheco is going to get the bulk of the load, I think you get a guy that can come in and do something to the effect of what Jerick McKinnon does, just a change of pace back, somebody that can pass protect, somebody that can catch the ball out of the backfield. I think that's all you got to look at. And like I said, there's plenty of those guys in the draft coming up if you want to stay super cheap.
Right.
And I mean, there's other options like Antonio Gibson. Like we know this guy, he can catch out of the backfield or he can grind it out on the ground, man.
Right.
I mean, this guy, like you said, he hasn't hit his potential.
No.
He hasn't. Because of injuries and some other things, situational. I think if you brought him to KC and had him in this situation, sky's the limit for that kid. So I think there's just better options than spending a lot of money on a receiver or even trading for one like Kamara.
Right.
Even though Kamara in a Chiefs offense is super intriguing, he'd probably be a freaking absolute beast. But I just think there's other ways, smarter ways to go about it.
Right. I really like the Antonio Gibson. I think he's in the midst of a time in his career where it seems like he's not lived up to his potential out of Memphis. He was a wide receiver before he converted to running back, so he's got great hands. The kid's explosive. He does really well getting to the edge and chunking off big runs. I think he could come to KC on a cheap 1 year and try to prove something. I really do. Yeah, maybe.
Me too.
Look, shout out Eric Bieniemy, by the way, for going to UCLA. He's now going to run the offense, and he's an assistant head coach. Maybe, though, when Bieniemy came in and was talking to the Chiefs, he's got a few Chiefs ties. He coached Antonio Gibson. He coached the receiver we've been talking about up there. He coached Curtis Samuel. Maybe he can talk to Veach and be like, hey, guys, I coach these kids. These guys would fit in your all system a little bit. And it's weird that you're kind of going to the Commanders to poach some players, but I think those are their dynamic playmakers, barring Terry McLaurin, which I don't think you're going to be able to touch that guy.
Exactly. But yeah, that's a pretty interesting thing to think about is if Bieniemy actually had those talks with Brett Veach or even Andy Reid, like, hey, there's a couple guys up there that you guys could make great. Who knows? There's no telling how that could turn out, but I still think that you kind of eyeball the draft more than likely and just leave it as is. But if it's the last we've seen of Clyde, I know a lot of Chiefs Kingdom's going to be happy about that. I'm kind of indifferent about it. I mean, I don't really care if Clyde's here, but at the same time, I did like Clyde. I thought he was a cool guy. And I think that when he was healthy, he played well. It just didn't work out. Right. And as far as Jerick McKinnon goes, everybody loves his personality, his pass protection ability, his experience. But at the same time, it's the same deal, man. I like him, but if he's gone, it is what it is.
Well, and the reason we had them 1 and 2 on our list, by the way, is because we were looking at what fits the Chiefs, how they operate, how much money they want to spend. And to be honest, at the end of the day, if they re-sign back McKinnon, that would not surprise me one bit. I think they know McKinnon fits, and that's who they would like to come back if he would like to be back and they can make the money work. And then with Clyde, if he tests free agency and decides, hey, there's just nobody out there willing to go, I'd rather go back to KC for another year, prove it a little bit this year, do it again. He may sign for like 1.2, 1.5, and I could see them just taking the same guys. That's Brett Veach and them's MO, to be honest. They want to keep building what we've built, and guys that have won now multiple championships. I think they're fine with that, Steve, but you guys let us know in the comments. Are you guys sad to see Clyde go? Do you think he will ultimately be back? Do you think they'll get back McKinnon? Do you think Antonio Gibson's intriguing? Is that somebody? And then also let us know about OBJ and what you think Chris Jones. I know you guys got some thoughts on Chris Jones and that 30 million mark, but what do you think? You think he should take 26 per year and maybe use it to go get OBJ? Let us know in the comments, Steve. We're out of here. Thanks for liking, subscribing, hitting that bell. We'll catch you guys next time. Go Chiefs.